Welcome to the Effects Loop. I'm Diaz.
And I'm Paul.
And we're keeping you in the loop of the guitar community. This episode is brought to you by listeners like you, our Patreon. You can sign up, patreon.com/theeffectsloop. There's different tiers. You can give us different amounts of money, because I don't think we're really upset if you give us any money at all. And then it also helps support people like Paul over here. For just $1 a month, you can get Paul on the episode. I don't think that's going to work, though, is it?
I haven't gotten paid yet, so I don't know. The check's in the mail.
Checks, yeah. Sarah McLachlan should be dropping it off with a sad puppy. It'll be great. In the arms of... I love how everyone knows that. Like, anytime you ask anyone for money, you're like waiting for Sarah McLachlan.
Yeah, they don't even know Sarah McLachlan's name, and they're already singing the song.
There's kids that are just like, I don't know who that lady is, but she's got the voice of an angel, and you're like, it was actually on Cities of an Angel, so that's really great. You tie it in. And like,
yeah, she
they have
is an
no
angel.
clue. They're like, she seems like she probably is one of the nicest people in the world.
Or just like a total monster, for real. Like, you wouldn't know about it, but she's like the worst person ever.
She's like Cruella DeVille, and she does the ads just to get puppies. And you're like, this comes out, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I knew it the whole time.
You're like, I was on it. I knew it.
Check episode 57 of this random podcast about guitar gear. I called it.
I said it. 2019, I said it.
Yeah, you're like time stamping it at 2:23 p.m. Captain's log. Paul calls out. Oh my gosh. All right, so let's. It's funny because I was talking to the pre-app. What's new with you, Paul? Which is interesting because we don't know what's old. But you actually did get something pretty cool you posted in your group.
Yeah, yesterday I saw on Facebook Marketplace there was a vintage. It's a Fender precision bass. It's 1952. It's fretless, and I was like, I gotta go get this. It was 2.5 hours away.
Oh my god! What?
Yeah, but
hashtag the flip never sleeps.
Dude, it was $500, and I was like, I gotta get this thing. And it's rad. It all works. The only thing that's not original is the bridge, but it's like a vintage bridge. They just didn't like it and put a new bridge on it then.
That's crazy. Yep. Wait, hold on. Did we actually say where Paul's from?
Nope.
No, we totally missed that. There's just a random group that Paul has that's just for his adventures. The Paul group.
Yeah.
If your name's Paul, you're invited. I had to change my name on Facebook just to get in, but I changed it back.
Yeah. Once you're in, you're in.
Yeah, that's the rules. Paul is from the Flippin' Flippers podcast, which I'll give you a hint. They talk about flipping stuff.
We talk a lot of poop. We talk about a lot of poop because Coach Schneider and I, we both have kids around the same age, so it's a lot of poop and dad jokes and then flipping and guitar stuff.
Yeah, because Co does the One Day Show.
Yes.
And that's a pretty cool thing. Man, that's pretty great for you guys. You guys got a lot of connections just from that.
Yeah, it's been really cool. When he came on, because he didn't start it originally with me, so when he came on, it was nice to get he was like, "Hey, let's talk to this person." He just knows people. So my first name, he just grabbed my hand and just introduced me to everybody, like I was like a young kid.
You're like, this is this right here. This is Doug Cower. You're like, hi, nice to meet you.
That's exactly what happened. That's literally what happened.
Even though Doug is one of the sweetest people in the world, and you would never feel intimidated to meet him, but I mean, he's Doug Cower.
But I did this move where he's like, hey, this is Paul Pennington, and he does the Flippin' Flippers podcast. I'm like, hi, I also like The Simpsons. You know what I mean? I didn't even know what to say. I was like, I love Ralph Wiggum, and I like your guitars, and I'm gonna go now. I didn't even know what to do.
I remember the first time I met Doug in person was at Summer NAMM a couple years back, and it was really cool because we'd kind of known each other online, and the whole time I'm just like, I will never be able to afford one of your guitars, but they're beautiful. That's the whole way. But totally. Doug's makes great stuff, and then Co's got a bunch of cool ins and outs with the industry, but I know a lot of the stuff is that's it started with you. You started flipping quite a bit. You were one of the original OG flippers in the 60 Cycle Hum group, weren't you?
Yeah, because that's how I even got turned on to them. Is I read their description. I was like, oh, That's for me, because it was just buying, selling, trading, all that crap. And I was invested without even hearing an episode, and it was early, like within their first year or whatever. And I was like, yep. And then they stopped talking about that crap. So then I just started a podcast that talks about it.
Yeah, they kind of got away from that. I think that's once they started getting a little bit higher up in the gear world, started become known people, and like there's companies like I remember the first time Strymon sent them something, I was like, and now they're on a whole nother level. So you kind of took over the mantle and ran with that.
I don't know about ran with it, but we're doing a show.
He's like jogging at a mild pace, but yes, we are doing something with it.
Yeah, we're doing light jogging.
So yeah, everyone go, if you're not checking them out, check out the Flippin' Flippers, and we'll do the whole great guys, awesome guys, and because Paul, we've known each other through like the inner circle and stuff for quite a while too.
Oh yeah, for years I'd say now.
I keep forgetting how long I've been in this. Like I was talking with some friends. I've got like a private text group of people that I know, and I'm like, man, we've been in this for like 6 years, and I've only met one of you. I feel like that's how it's starting to be, where all the time's kind of slipping away. So let's get back on track, because we are ADD. Well, I know I am. So we got that, and then the Flippin' Flippers actually had a pedal come out.
Yeah, we did a collab with Solid Gold Effects. It was called the Stack, and it's got a pancake on it, and it's based on their Zeta Deluxe. And what they did is they did like a tweaked version that is a germanium side for the Zeta, and then it has the BC549 in it as the boost, instead of like the traditional boost that they use. So we did a collaboration with them. We ran it basically for a week or a week and a half after NAMM, and we sold 15 of them, and I was more than happy with that. It was a fun project for sure.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've always wanted to do, was do like a collaborative project with a company. And I know Solid Gold Effects is really good. They did the model 001 with Tone Mob.
The Tone Mob, yeah. Yep.
So is that their only one I think they've done? But I know that was like one of the first real big collab pedals I can really think of a company with a podcast.
Oh yeah, I think Solid Gold, that's the only other podcast they've done is us, and I can't even believe they did it. I must have tricked them or something.
Yeah.
But honestly, Alex Fletcher is a super good guy, and we've been talking about music for years. It's one of those things where you just know him, talk to him, and you're texting about, hey, did you go and see them or see this or whatever? And then it was like, hey, I have an idea, and he was like, give me a call, and we just talked for like an hour, and basically came up with an idea, and the rest is history.
That's pretty cool. All right, and then did you have any other new stuff that's been recent with you?
I finished up my Titan project. We were just talking about Doug, so he did a garage sale on his like scratch and dent stuff, and it was just like bodies, and Co and I both got bodies from him at a very, very reasonable price, and then we just built project guitars. So we got those both done, and he did like a baritone, and I just did like a traditional Titan style, but it was so hard to find a good looking neck, and then Wormuth had one that just like looks so good with it, and so I've been playing that a bunch. It sounds fantastic, plays really good, so I feel like I have half a Titan,
Yeah, there you go. Well, but, what color did you go with on that?
I went with it's glacier blue.
Okay.
It's like that soft, misty looking blue.
Funny thing about colors, that's actually, so the Solid Gold Effects, the Stack, that's your second kind of collab with a builder, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's not really a collab.
Hey, I've got one. So
it kind of is. So what happened is, so as you don't know, the Binford 6100 from Pelican Noise Works, Leon is a good friend of mine, and we talk all the time. And I actually had never met him, and he came to New York to like the Brooklyn Stomp Box, and so I was like, I'm gonna come out and see you. And when I got there, he just handed me that and was like, this is because of you. And I was like, what? And so he only made two of them. He made one for me and one for Co. And maybe he had one or something, but that was it. And then we just kept talking to him, and he was like, I think I want to do a run of it. I was like, you should. And he let us do like the promo stuff for it, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, we didn't see any money out of it, but good for him. I want him to make as much as he can.
Yeah. Well, hold on. I forgot about that because there's another thing that you did something else with Leon.
What did I do with Leon? Oh, the pink Peloton, right?
So yeah, I have that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Pennington pink.
Yeah, so back in the day, this is how I first started talking to him, was I wanted that silver one that he did, and he ran out of them, and I was like, can you do another one? And he's like, no, I really can't, and he's like, they're limited, and so I was like, okay, I'll just buy a gold. And then we were talking, and we started talking about gear and just different stuff, and I was like, would you do a custom color? And he's like, maybe, if the color's right. And so he was just going to do one pink one for me, and it was going to be the upcharge or whatever. And then he's like, do you care if I do a run of like 11 of them? I was like, no, do it. So it's pretty rad.
Yep. I was able to get one of those. I was pretty excited.
Dude, it's great. And plus it's the silver and the gold one are a little bit different circuits. And I think that that circuit sounds great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got I had to put some cream knobs on it though. The cream on it looks great.
Oh, sure. Yeah. That would look awesome.
Yeah. And then, it's been kind of a slow week for me because I went kind of gear crazy. But actually, we've been doing the thing on the podcast where we've actually done like some playing, which has been pretty neat. So there is a pedal I got not too long ago. And seeing as delay is my favorite effect, I'm actually going to mess around with this on air and talk about it. So I actually got a JHS Lucky Cat. And I got this one for pretty cheap too. I think I paid like $130 for it.
Oh,
nice. So on like a scale of 1 to 10, Paul, where do you think that lays on the flipping level?
Well, that's in the like great price to keep. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right.
Yeah. There's like a level where you decide you're like, okay, I can flip this, or like there's a level where you're like, okay, I can keep this or maybe make a couple bucks if I don't like it. You're not trying to flip it, but that's not something I would go after if I was trying to make money. But just to get it at that price, that's a good price.
Yeah, see, that's the nicest way of saying, yeah, you're not flipping that, dude. That's a great price to keep it at.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's definitely different, there's the price of that bass that I just drove like almost 3 hours to get out there to get it because it was worth doing it. And there's a price where it's like local and you go, well, that's a good price, but that's a purchase where I'm probably going to keep it.
Yeah. So this is the Lucky Cat. This is without any of the mod settings, and I'll kind of add a little bit of mod here and there and let you hear it. So, let's see, it's a delay pedal, so I guess I got to do that. Oh, yeah, and I'm using my Telecaster, by the way. I feel like you get in those weird things where people are like telling you everything. They're like, yeah, and I'm using my M&P guitar pick that I got from have you ever noticed that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They're like, these strings are from this, and they're this gauge, and all,
These are my string joist strings, and they're like dropping every name they can. That's what I'm going to start doing. So we're adding mod number 1 on. So. I really can't tell what it did.
Yeah, it kind of sounded the same to me.
All right, we're going to have to go back. We're going to have to see what it does. Hold on. We'll play the same riff. We'll do. Yeah, it has a slight modulation to it. Now we're going to go to mod 2. I'm hoping there's a little bit of crazy modulation on this. Oh yeah, that's got like that.
Yeah.
That's got like that like warped tape
and the
sound.
trails you could really hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I like that.
There you go.
But this, I played with this. I actually bought this because I didn't have a delay pedal, so I had to like find one really quick, and I needed a tap tempo. I found this on my local market, and this thing actually sounds really good. But I scared myself because I turned the darken knob the wrong way, And I was like, this sounds horrible, and I got nervous. But it has a really nice, you can really clean that up and have it be very crisp. So I like this pedal. I probably won't sell it because I got it at a great price to keep.
Yeah, great price to keep. Yep.
All right, well, that was the playing for the episode.
Yeah, that sounds good. I wanted to try that out at NAMM this year, but he only had 3 pedals out, so it was so weird.
Was that is that Winter NAMM?
Yeah, Winter NAMM. He had what the 4-leaf clover or whatever that is, and then
the tidy whities.
Yep, and then whatever the black one was, I can't remember what that was, but he just had those 3.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Super weird. I mean, it's a baller move because he's like, these are what you're buying, but like at the same time, it's like, yeah, but I want to try your other stuff that I don't get to touch ever,
Yeah, JHS is I don't know. They had the Pink Panther back before it was the Lucky Cat. They had one of those at NAMM, and I wasn't like super crazy about it. But now that I got this, I actually feel like it's a great pedal.
Now, is it exactly the same? I mean, obviously, besides the graphic, or did it have the mod switch or not? I couldn't remember.
Yeah. I think it's completely the same except for they changed the graphic.
Gotcha.
So I'm not sure what changed. Probably just because I own it now, and I'm like, yeah, this is great. But,
right? Yeah, you're always like talk yourself into it when you're like, yeah, I really like it. It's great, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I even like it.
Well, I got it at a great price to keep. So no.
Great price to keep.
No. Well, that's actually, I don't know. Maybe that's like a good price for like if you plan on trading, because I can find something else that has the same price value but has a better resale. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and I do that stuff too. Like I'll have something that I haven't been able to flip, and then I'll trade it for something equal value, and then get rid of that.
Yeah, because you're like, yeah, I know I'll be able to get rid of that. That's what I tell my wife whenever I trade something, and I'm like, she's like, are you not spending any money on it? I'm like, well, I got to put more money into it, but it'll be easier to sell. And then that's how I have a T-Rex replicator,
which is freaking rad.
Yeah, dude, I think I might do that on next week's episode. That'd be a good one. Is the mess of the actual tape delay.
Did you just got that not that long ago, right?
Yeah, it's probably about a month ago.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because I got it. I wonder if I don't know how to. Is it Thalman or Tommen? The German.
Thalman, right? Tom. I don't know. I think they say it weird. Every time I've heard it online, they're like Thalman.
Well, they are German.
German, yeah.
So, man, they don't have them in stock anymore. They had the replicators on sale for like, I got one that was like considered B stock, and I figured they're going to be close to like a lot of the big name boxes in US, and anytime you get anything B stock from them, it's like brand new. They just happen to open it or use it for
right. They probably did a demo with it or
and it's like, dude, it's still the same thing. Like, who cares? And
that's like what is that? What's that company? Primex. Anytime I've ever bought anything used from them, it just happens that it's like on like on eBay or Reverb or whatever, and I buy it, and then I'm like, that's a good price, and then it comes from them, and I'm like, oh, this is like brand new.
Yeah, I got that for $432 shipped, and all the U.S. companies have them listed for like $8.99.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like half the price.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean that's a big purchase for sure, but that's awesome.
Because I always wanted one, and I was like, at that point, I can somewhat justify it. I'm like, man, that's $432 shipped compared to $8.99 shipped from Sweetwater. So,
yeah, I'm sure like the cheapest one on Reverb, you know what I mean? Even if there is one, because they're not hardly ever on there, it's probably pretty expensive.
Yeah, they're still like $450 to $500 on there used.
Yeah.
So
yeah, used.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about what's new. One of the coolest pedals I think that's been announced this week is Mr. Black announced a new spring reverb, which is the Super Swell, which our friends over at 60 Cycle Hum did a great demo of. And this pedal sounds amazing. I know whenever Mr. Black was sending this pedal to Ryan at 60 Cycle Hum, like, he was talking it up pretty hard. And
yeah, that's a tough guy to talk it up to, because he is like the drip king.
Like, if I want to know if a pedal has a really good surfy sound to it, I'm going to look to see what Ryan Burks had to say about it.
Right.
And that's like, I didn't know what drip was until it was for Ryan Burke. I mean, like, I was like, he's like chasing the drippy dragon, and I'm like, I don't know what he's on, but I want some. Like, I don't like. And then I was like, oh, it's tone. And I was like, well, that would be a little bit easier to get. Besides these random things, but yeah, it's kind of awesome.
Yeah, I mean, listen to the demo. I mean, it sounds kind of trippy. It's hard to tell online. You know, there's a ton of pedals that I've been fooled before, you know, like watching the demo and then you go, this drips, and you play it and you're like, that doesn't drip. It's close, you know, but it doesn't drip. Yeah. And it sounds like it does.
You know, I've heard quite a few people say that there's very few things that do a better drip than this. I know the Kemper had an upgrade with the or an update, and they added a spring reverb that actually does a pretty good drip. And the Source Audio, what's the one for
the Ventures?
Is that the
something like Ventris, I think, yeah.
Yeah, the Nemesis is the delay, the Ventris is the... And then they also had their standalone spring reverb pedal. I can't remember the name of that one. And
no clue on that one, but yeah.
I think those are the only things that have been said that they do a better job than this.
Okay.
Which I can handle that. I think Adam Delhanick said that. And I trust Adam Delhanick.
You can quote him on that.
I can quote him. You can quote me on quoting him. I don't know how that works. I'm not an English major. You might have to go to Gear Slum for English majors. You know what? That's one thing. If you ever want to argue with those guys online, you better make sure you spell your stuff right.
Oh my gosh, they'll hammer you.
They will. I've seen it.
Oh, they'll straight hammer you. Yep.
I've just seen it happen, and I'm sat back and watched. I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, this is. They're saying the stuff that they wish they could say to students because you're an adult and you have to take it or block them.
Yep.
And if you block them, they win.
Yeah, I remember one time because we have twins and they were like 6 months, so you just don't sleep at all. Mm-hmm. And I had he had slammed something, like I think it was Aaron Abubo, and I came back with like the wittiest comeback. I was so sure of it. I woke up in the morning and then like he had replied like, I think you need to reread that because I don't know what the heck you're saying. And then like I looked at it, it was nonsense, just total nonsense. I was like, I don't even know what I was thinking or saying. I'm like, so we'll just chalk it up to no sleep.
Yes, yeah. Speaking of no sleep, whoever made this next guitar had no sleep.
Oh my gosh.
So Fender has been going pretty wild with the alternate reality guitars, and this one makes me feel all sort of weird inside. This is the 66, and an Avengers ad just popped up over the picture, so there's that. All right, so the 66 is like if a Tele and a Fender Jazz Bass had a baby. And a Strat.
And a Strat, for sure.
Yeah, because it's got the
Strat pickguard almost.
Yeah, well, but it's got like the Tele, or it's got the Fender Jazz Bass, the 70s Jazz Bass control plate. That's right there at that angle.
Yep.
With a Strat trim, a humbucker, and 2 Telecaster neck pickups. One's in the middle position, one's in the neck. What is going on here? Can someone explain this to me?
You know what this looks like? This looks like when like your friend shows you the guitar he modded. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh. Yeah. You're like, cool, dude.
Yeah, you're like, that looks great. And you turn to your friend, you're like, that doesn't look great at all. It looks horrible.
Like, that's not good at all.
I'd
be interested in... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I don't like the neck pickups because it reminds me of lipstick pickups out of a Dan Electro.
They should have just went all, like the 3 of them, because I think it would look better.
Well, okay, so the natural wood one looks worse than all of them.
Oh, that's the worst one. Yeah.
There's a blue one that actually...
One.
The blue one looks okay. And I just noticed that the pickup selector is down, and it's sideways like a Telecaster, but it's up where like a control plate for a Mustang would be. Right. What are we doing here, guys? We need to have a talk. Like, this is intervention level.
Yeah, I just can't get behind it. I don't know. And the body doesn't flow, and it's kind of a Strat, and then it just gets like real weird.
It reminds me of the kid in your high school who was in art class, and he played guitar, and he's like, I don't want a conventional guitar. I'm going to make my own. It looks like they took that drawing and really made it a guitar, like, to scale. Like, it's not great. And
although this is better than what's the one that was like the Strat and the Jazzmaster or Jaguar that has like it doesn't even flow at all. Like, this is better than that at least, but this is pretty ugly.
You know what? I'm going to nitpick even more. The 66 name after the Fender sticks out like a sore thumb as well. Horrible position. And it's a horrible name. What does that have to do with 66? What, like 666? It's from the devil.
This is from the devil.
This is from the
devil made this guy do it.
This is like Bobby Boucher. Like, it's from the devil. His mama. That's what. This is not good. All right, I don't want to dwell on it because I feel like I'm just gonna be hateful of it. It's $8.99, which okay, I'll give you that. That's not
the
bad.
The price is good. Yeah. Where is that made though? Is it Mexico?
I'm trying to
gotta
zoom
be Mexico.
in.
It's gotta be because it's gotta be made in
Indonesia,
Mexico.
Something like I could see it being one of the. Oh,
right there. Come on, you zoom in. That looks like an. I think it's made in Mexico.
Yeah, I'll give it to Mexico on this one.
Yeah.
No bueno. Try again next week, Fender. And then the next actually guitar is from Fender, and it's still me probably going to be hateful towards Fender. But this week, Jack White becomes the first guitarist to get an Acoustasonic Telly from Fender's Custom Shop. So we talked about it a few episodes ago. Fender announced the Acoustasonic Telly, which, do you remember the guitars? I don't know how old you are, Paul, but I'm
too old.
Okay, I'm gonna guess though that you probably experienced this. Do you remember going in Guitar Center and they had the acoustic tellies that sounded absolutely horrible, but all the young kids wanted to play it because it looked like a telly?
Oh yeah.
Those are back. That's just the best way to put it. I mean, this thing has been upgraded with the sense of like it can do acoustic and electric, but it's, I don't know. I guess because
it looks better. I'll say that. It does look better because it at least looks like something.
Well, Jack White's looks better because he's trying to make it look like a Gretsch.
Yeah.
Like, he's got the 3 arrows instead of the G logo, but he's got the pick guard that kind of matches. But the one thing that is still going to get me and makes me turn my head every time is that pickup at a weird angle.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't buy one. I think it's ugly, but...
Ugly as sin, yeah. That's kind of bad.
But we were also saying that he looks like Mark Wahlberg and Danzig.
That is very true. He looks like Mark
100%.
Wahlberg. Like he is Mark Wahlberg and Glenn Danzig's dad. That's what happened.
It's amazing.
It's the weirdest thing. Jack White has just changed so much. Do you remember when he had the really thin mustache?
Oh, yeah. The little pirate mustache that he had going on.
All right. I want pirate mustache Jack White back. Like, I want that. Or Jack White watching The Edge and Jimmy Page play and just being in awe. I want that guy back. This muscular, like, Jack White, like, he looks like he's getting sick and tired of people's crap, so he's bulking up so he can actually fight them.
He's like, I'm going to fight him.
he's like Mike Tyson comes over. He's like, Jack White, you got this, man. You got this. Then I Fender acoustic. I don't know why we can just turn it into impression week. That's what we're gonna do. But yeah, that's pretty much what's new. I didn't really see anything else. I would have been really upset with myself if I forgot about the Super Swell, because I almost did. I think that was kind of the biggest announcement in my little world.
That's it. That's your biggest announcement. I like it.
Just ever. Just that. That's it. Do you have a kid this year? No, but the Super Swell came out.
The Super Swell. Well, actually, I did have a kid, but the Super Swell.
You're like, the Super Swell is a close second.
Right there.
And the wife said the kid has to be number one. All right, so topic this week, we've got Paul on here. This guy talks about flipping all the time. So let's get some pointers, because I suck at it. I don't know.
Well, the idea is buy low, sell high. You know, that's the idea.
Well, the problem is sometimes people get high and they buy, and like that's where we get problems, I guess. But there's the I don't know. How do you stop yourself from keeping everything?
That's the hard
problem.
part.
That's
yeah,
my
for
problem.
sure. Yep.
Is your wife like your accountability partner? She's like,
no, not at all.
Out.
I try to tell her nothing, to be honest. I just bring home money and then she's happy, you know, but like I try not to tell her anything because it's easier that way. Because like, I mean, obviously she knew about this base because I was going to be gone for, you know, a whole day. She's going to know something's up, you know. But you know, I'm going to sell it, but I desperately want to keep it. And my wife was like, well, if you really want to. And I was like, well, I'd rather make money on it, but it is pretty cool.
How much of a price tag do you think you're going to put on that?
Like I would say mid $2,000, you know, like $2,500 to $2,000, somewhere in there is what I'll probably get for it. I don't know. It just depends. If somebody offers me like 18, it's like, well, I literally spent $40 in gas to get this.
Yeah. So you you tripled your money.
You're tripling my money. Yeah.
You're good.
So, but like the thing is, I kind of look at it two ways. So like I've had some really big, like, so I sold like a few years ago. I sold a 75 Strat, and I sold a Civil War Big Muff last year. You know, some of these like bigger ticket, like really cool vintage gear stuff. But like the thing is, like, there's no way I could like justify keeping them. You know, and so I end up selling them. But the thing is, I still get to play them, and there's going to be something else. So I always look to the next thing, and if it's really cool, then maybe I'll make it work. You know.
So what's the one thing that you bought that you were planning on selling that has not left yet?
Russian Big Muff, the green one.
Okay.
This is my fourth one. So every time I sell it, I get them at a good deal, and every time I sell it, I get like pretty pissed at myself for selling it. So this time I was like, yeah, I'm gonna put it up on eBay and Reverb, and then I just haven't yet. I'm just gonna. Well, it's such a good price. I'm just gonna probably keep it.
And I know with a lot of the Big Muffs, I mean, there's just people who are obsessed over them. Jason Fuzzmonger was talking on a post, I can't remember, right before we hopped on here, talking about how he found one and he'll never sell it because it was just kind of like what he's been looking for. But some of those just sell for crazy high prices.
Yep. Like this one here that I have would sell in the $400 range because it's super clean.
And yeah, especially some of those older pedals. That's what I know. That's a big thing with a lot of the Big Muffs, like the Russian Big Muffs and all that.
Yep. Yeah, the Civil War I sold it for $750.
Hot.
So,
dang.
and I bought it for $2, but it's like I can't keep this around for, you know, that kind of money. I can pay some of my mortgage and buy something cool, you know.
Well, I know. So the Civil War ones, those are the silver.
Yeah, silver with like half blue.
Okay.
They're like a half navy blue on the bottom.
I saw someone who bought one of those. Are they someone had like the case for sale.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever see that? There's like just the case of it was for sale.
Yeah, I think I did stumble on that.
I was you're like, actually I was selling just a case.
Oh, I did sell just a case a couple years, like maybe like 3 years ago. So I bought for $40 off eBay. Somebody had it was a Fender fuzz wah that they like took it all apart and crammed the circuit into the Big Muff case, and I just thought it was a green one because the shape is, you know, very similar. And then I took that out and I sold that by itself for, you know, like $70. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna like make a project out of this. And then as I like stripped it, because it was painted like seafoam green, as I stripped it, only the paint that was like painted on there came off. The underneath coating stayed, so it, you know, you could tell it was a Civil War. And I was like, oh sweet, it was faded, but it was there. And then I just got like a clone kit, and then I just built a clone kit and then sold it for like $400. And I said it was a clone, but people still were like, I was like, in the description I was like, good enough to fool your friends, and they were like, yep, done, I'm buying it.
Wow.
It's crazy.
What was the one? So what got you into the flip game? What did you start with a goal that you wanted this certain item and you're going to work up to it, or did you just say I want to cycle through as much gear as I possibly can?
Yeah, I mean, I basically started just kind of doing it here and there, like, I just extra money, at first, because I was, out of college, young and dumb and didn't have a lot of money. And so I just did it here and there to help pay the bills. But then, like, as I got married and I was like, man, there's no money for, like, cool gear, I was like, started looking and found on Craigslist, some Strat, and I was like, oh man, I could sell this for like 400, and then I'd work my way up. And my goal was to get an American Strat. That's what I wanted, because I'd always had just like, Squires. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I wanted, an American one. And
it's like wanting a Gibson. You want the Gibson. Like, you're like, oh yeah, no, I love my Epiphone, but I just really want that Gibson.
Yeah, I mean, it is a status symbol, like, whether you want to say it or not. It's like, oh, that guy can afford a Gibson, he's doing okay. Or, you know what I mean? Like, maybe not, but, you have that feeling to it. So I wanted that type of guitar, And so I just started buying some pedals cheap and flipping them and selling some gear. And I sold, like, just a bunch of random stuff. And I was like, oh, I can buy 2 of these now. It just went so quick.
No.
And then I basically I had left a job and I didn't really have any sort of income, and so I just started flipping, and I did it for like 3 years, which is like side work here and there, and then just flipping, and I was like, wow, I could just do this all the time, and then I got a really good job, and I did that for like 10 years, and I really liked it. And then now I don't do that anymore, and I just kind of drive for Uber and flip, which is crazy.
That's insane. You're living the dream.
Well, I'm not. This is not a brag. This is not the profit end all be all. But last year I did $27,000 in flips.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy, but it's like half my income. You know what I mean?
But that's fantastic. I mean, because you're doing something that you love, and you're able to support your family doing it. Like, how cool is that? You can't be upset with that.
Nope. And it's fun. I actually like it. It's fun to go to, like, find this stuff on Craigslist and like look at, wherever you find a guitar at, like, and I don't just buy guitar stuff, but you'll find a guitar at like a Salvation Army and you're like, this is $10. This is worth like $100 or $200.
Do you ever have to lock your phone up? You're like, it's time to take a break from work, and you're like hiding the Craigslist app.
Yeah, I do. What the worst is, like, 4 a.m. when I like roll over and I can't sleep, and then I'm like, oh, I just scrolled through my phone for like 2 hours, and now the kids are gonna get up. Awesome.
Yeah, loads of fun. Craigslist app is it's an evil place to spend time.
Oh yeah,
sometimes.
for sure.
I keep looking and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't need this. See,
that's most of the time it's just weird stuff anyways. So
yeah, I think you know what? I think they should make that. That's the next podcast. If anyone's listening and you want to start a podcast, just start one where you and like 2 other people scroll through Craigslist and share the.
And just talk about the weird stuff.
Yeah, I'm about to pull up mine right now just to see like what the first weird thing I find is. And where are you located at? Are you the West Coast?
No, I'm East Coast, New York,
East Coast.
Central New York.
Right, yeah. Oh, dang. You're not. Well, you are kind of far from me, but not like craziness. So, where did you drive to get that bass?
I drove to Elmira. Yeah, I drove to Elmira. This is a funny story. So I drove to Elmira, New York. That's about 2.5 hours from me. It's almost on the border of Pennsylvania. And but it was just worth it to go. So I get to the location. So I contacted the lady that was selling it, and I was like, "Hey, I want this. Can we meet up today?" And then she's like, "Yeah, when can you meet?" And I was like, "I'm 2.5 hours away, so anytime 2.5 hours from now." And she's like, "Well, I gotta work at 5." I'm like, "I can be there at 5." I'm like, "Will you take the listing down?" And she's like, "No." And I was like, "Oh, come on." So I'm afraid that somebody's gonna be like, "I'll give you 1,000."
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
Time is of the essence.
So she said, when it gets to be 2:30, if nobody's contacted me, I'll pull it down as long as you promise me that you're coming. I was like, sure. Like, what's the problem? Like, you just relist it if the person doesn't show. It's not a big deal. But so she texted me at like 2 and said, "Are you still interested?" I said, "Yep." I said, "I'll go to the bank and I'll head right over." And so she's like, "Great." And then she gave me her address. And I went there, and then this other dude shows up and goes, "Hey, you're here for the bass?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Cool." He's like, "My wife just works here." And I was like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "We have to go like 13 minutes away to like our house to get it." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I get in my van, and then they get in my van. It was so freaking crazy. And I was like, yeah, that's weird. And they're like, yeah, you're going to take us there, right? And I was like, yeah, because I want this base, you know? Like, but
Oh my gosh. I'm going to
it
start
was
selling
so
gear.
weird.
I'm going to start selling gear just to get rides home if I ever need them. I'm like,
That's what I was like, if this is a big, they went in their house and they were in there for like 5 minutes. I'm like, if they don't come out with a base and they did this whole like, you know, charade to like get a free ride to their house, I'm going to be so pissed.
you're like I could have just Ubered in my hometown. Why don't
Yeah, right.
You should just find a way to charge them for the Uber.
Yep. Well, I had like a sticker in the window and she goes, oh, so you're like used to having like strange people in your car all the time. I was like, yeah. Like it was so weird, so bizarre.
That's the start of a Law and Order SVU episode. Like,
Yep.
so you're used to having strangers in your car. Dead. Bye.
Somebody's gonna end up killed. Like that's all that's gonna happen. Like either it's them because you know I'm the killer or the other way around.
That's why
But
I don't go jogging because the joggers always find the dead bodies. I haven't jogged in years, and you know what? Not one dead body I've found. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
It's scientifically proven right now. Joggers find the bodies. No, I actually just did. I hopped on my Craigslist. I sent you the. I actually sent you the listing. There's an applause guitar, but it's
that thing is hideous.
it's an electric guitar for $150, and this thing is the ugly. This is the ultimate I found in a pawn shop guitar. This is
Yeah, that is hideous. It's
is
like
that
snake skin crackle.
It looks like it's supposed to be like lightning bolts, kind of like, or maybe barbed wire. Or thorns? I don't know.
I think it's supposed to be like that crackle paint. I wonder if they repainted it.
It looks horrendous.
It looks terrible. It's not like snakeskin because it's not like uniformed.
It's
like
straight up-
it's like crackle.
This is part of the new Fender alternate universe.
Yeah, you just have to put a 60s Strat headstock on it or a 70s Strat like neck on it.
Completely. Oh my gosh, this is so.
You know what's
bad.
terrible too is the inlays because they're like weird like triangles.
Shark tooth. They're almost like the shark tooth, but if the shark had crooked teeth.
You know what it is? Because it's got a little bit of a swoop. They're just like kick ramps for like skateboarding.
Oh, what was that one company that was kind of like their logo was the wave? It looks kind of like a wave.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a wave.
This is not
Like Quicksilver or something. I don't know, but
yeah, that was it. Quicksilver.
Yeah,
that's the Quicksilver
yeah,
logo.
So that's horrible. If it was like $35, I would buy it.
There's more switches than there are knobs. There's 3 switches down there and 2 knobs. I'm gonna have to post this in the group.
Yeah, this is pretty awesome. I kind of want it now. Oh, it's got a Floyd Rose on it too. I'm in. I'm gonna dive bombing like
gosh.
crazy.
That's it. You're like, I need this for whenever I cover the dirt by Motley Crue's. You're like,
Totally.
I'm gonna watch that movie. I'm gonna play this guitar.
How far away is this? Is this 3 hours away? I'm going right now. I gotta leave.
No. It's the first 6-hour episode. You have to keep us. You should really like if you ever do a crazy meetup like that again. You got to record it. It would be like the weirdest episode. What was the Cash Cab?
Oh yeah, that's it. It's literally Cash Cab.
But it was the opposite. You were actually the driver, and you were getting something. Well, I guess they got cash out of it. You gave them $500. They gave you a
Yep,
guitar.
they won. They won cash. Yep.
They did. They just had to give you a guitar. Do you think they knew what it was, or do you think they
kind of knew that he's like you know how people talk and they're like he's like I know it's a heck of a lot worth more than what I'm charging, and I was like yeah, but that's what you're charging, you know, like I'm like you wanted it to sell quick, right? And he's like yeah. So I don't know if he was trying to get more money or what. It was like a guy and a girl. They were like nice enough, but it was definitely for drug money though, like 100%.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they either they spent their drug money. Either their rent money on drugs or they need drug money because they paid their rent. It's one of the two.
You're just like, okay, don't spend this all at one drug dealer's house because you give it to them.
Don't snort this all at one time, guys.
You're like, I know you're not getting the good stuff that will kill you. Don't do this. I've seen bad shows. Oh man. That's okay. And so we'll do one last thing before we sign off. Dang, well that's it. I was gonna ask your craziest flip. All right, how about this? What was you can either do percentage or just complete dollar wise. What was your most profitable flip? You can just give us like a round, like if you doubled, tripled, or quadrupled. That way
Oh, by like a ridiculous amount. Well, I don't even know, like 100 times the normal amount. So, like I invested $400. A friend of mine, her friend motorcycle died, and it was his only way to get to work, and he had a ton of base gear, and he was like, "I need $400, and you can have all of this." And it was just like, you name it, heads, cabs, just 100 pedals, like easily 100 pedals.
What?
Like, yeah, oh yeah, I made so much money off it. It was ridiculous, and I kind of felt bad for a minute, but then I was like, nah, I don't feel bad.
And then the first thing sold, and you're like, nope, there goes out the window. That whole shame and
Yep.
pride. Yeah, you're like, no,
You had no problem with it,
no,
you know.
no remorse. You're like,
Nope.
you're like, I mean, the guy set his price, right?
Yeah, like he asked her because he knew that she knew some musicians that might be interested, and she was like, he has all this stuff and he needs money, and so I gave him $400. And I mean, it took me a long time to sell through everything, but like right away I sold like a Fender head for like $500. You know what I mean? Like I was like, well, got all my money back. That was easy, and then I could take my time with it, and try to get like the higher dollar.
Your kids are like, Daddy, I want to go see the new, Avengers movie. You're like, hold on, let Daddy put this guitar on reverb really quick, and we'll go.
We do that crap all the time. Like the other day, we're like, I went to Syracuse to get a guitar, which is about an hour from me, and it was like a Squire vintage modified, and it was like $100, and I was like, cool, I can make $400 for $20 in gas and an hour's worth of work,
Yeah.
And so I was like, hey kids, you guys want to go to Chick-fil-A in Syracuse? They're like, yeah! And it's like, so we just hopped in the car. I went and got the guitar. We took them to Chick-fil-A. Like, they had a blast.
What's the farthest that you really look at whenever it comes to driving for gear?
This was it though. The bass that I
Bass.
just did. That's probably the farthest I've ever gone, because deals fall through. So it was like, if it falls through, it falls through. But it was about $40. But actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, a few years ago, I bought a Jeep top for like $100, and I sold it for like $1,000, and I drove 7 hours for that. So I've gone a ways for flips.
Do you own a Jeep, or did you just have to know?
No,
Okay.
I owned a Jeep, and I had a soft top, and I just threw it on top of it, and then just drove it home.
Oh, you're just like, you're gonna flip everything.
I flip everything. Like this week, like no joke, at a Salvation Army, I found lawn darts for $3, and I sold them to a guy right by my house. I just put them on Facebook Marketplace, and I sold them for $125, which is just crazy to me. I had him up for $200. He's like, "What's your best price?" I was like, $150. He's like, "I was thinking $125," and I was like, "Can you meet today?" So
like,
I'm like, "I have $3 invested. Sure, I'll take your $125."
My God, you've got to be the luckiest guy on earth. Like, did that just?
I just, I treat it like a job. Like literally, I treat it like a job. I'm always looking. So I said I drive for Uber in between my rides. If I'm near like a thrift store, I'll just go in there because you just find weird stuff all the time that I can sell.
All right. Well, I need to start registering up for Uber and start going to more thrift shops.
There you go.
So that's your,
You can live the life.
tips. Yeah,
Yep, you can live the life like me.
I'll take the southeast. You get the northeast.
We'll meet up in the middle.
We could have a turf war in the middle one year just for fun. All right. Thanks, Paul, for joining us.
No, thanks for having me.
It's been a lot of fun. All you listeners, you can, Paul, don't try to read the bottom because it got mixed up, but I've gotten actually really good at memorizing it. Check out our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/The Effects Loop. Check out our YouTube, Instagram at The Effects Loop. Leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you use. You can email us at theeffectsloop@gmail.com if you feel so inclined. But one of my favorite ones is check out our Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/theeffectsloop. Once again, we've got different levels. You can support the show. We got cool little things we do. We've got stickers we can send out. We've got a fun little chat group where there's a few of us in there and we get to talk all the time. It's kind of like back whenever they had the 1-800 chat lines where you would talk with your friends, you like dialed in, and your parents got really mad for you for doing that because they ran up your phone bill. See, it's like that, except for you just pay ahead. So it's great. But, all right. Thanks for joining us, guys. Have a good one.
Just